I don't relish speaking against this bill. I actually had high hopes for this bill when it was announced, because some of the issues, especially dealing with chemicals, dealing with additives, are things that are important to me. And I've talked about those issues for a long time. What I did not expect was that this bill would turn into such a beast, that there would be so many musts and shalls just jammed down everyone's throats. If you look at all the things that are in this bill, a requirement that schools do this and that, without providing any additional funding, saying you have to go back to this, you have to provide extra time. What happens at that time? The students right now are already short on time to study. We talk about how much time they spend on testing. If we pull an extra half an hour from here and there, where does that come out of? There is a set amount of time students have every day. Students have to make choices on what they take. And we say, well, don't worry about it, just do it. The fiscal note does not even dig into what the school districts have to do. In fact, the fiscal note says, well, there will be a local impact because the schools will have to implement all this stuff, but we don't know how much it's going to cost. We don't know how many employees they're going to have to devote to this. We don't know how much classroom time they're going to have to do to take care of it, but they have to do it. The bill, before we fixed it, had a requirement that every single college student must take this course. That is incredible. It's beyond what I imagined. But at the same time that this bill goes too far, at the same time, a lot of it that is in here does nothing. The formation of this committee, if you look on page 8 and 9, you look at what this committee is designed to do, what they're supposed to do. It's supposed to provide an independent review of scientific studies analyzing the effects of ultra-processed foods. No need. I've done it for you. A 5-minute Google search will provide you with every scientific study on this topic. And then it says, well, we need to develop understanding of all these studies and see what all these studies. No need. Here it is, right here. A comprehensive meta-study of all the other studies and data sets saying what the results are. Point 4 says, hey, could you provide us nutritional guidelines on what we're supposed to do? What does the FDA do? Those guidelines have been out for decades. What's the point of this committee? That I've done all the work that's detailed in here with the Google search. And here's what's most frustrating to me. The things that actually affect childhood obesity, that actually affects the things that Representative Hull has talked about, those things are being ignored. Twice during this debate, members offered amendments about food deserts. If you know anything about this policy area, food deserts are one of the top items of why there is an epidemic of obesity across our nation. Because poor communities have no access to non-processed foods. Because those communities have no access to grocery stores. They have no access to good fresh meat, seafood, vegetables, fruits. So what do they eat? They eat trash. They eat junk food. They eat whatever they can buy for 75 cents, for $1.65. You know what those things are. You buy them on the way home. You feel guilty about eating them. But imagine if that was your diet every single day. That is significant for our children. There's teachers that you go and talk to teachers. Teachers talk about kids will just bring a bag of Takis to class for lunch, and that is their lunch. Instead of this bill, what we should have had is saying, We're going to provide school districts money to make sure that every child has a free lunch and that every free lunch will contain fresh meat from Texas, fresh vegetables from Texas, fresh grains, fresh dairy from Texas, and to make sure that our kids have access to the foods that will not kill them. That's what this bill should have been. Instead, we have overreach and ineffective. I think we can do better than this. I'm asking us to vote this down, not because the intention is bad or the idea is bad, but I think throughout this whole process, it's been muddled, it's been confused, and I think we've lost the game. I think we should come back with fresh eyes next time and actually work on a bill that actually matches the intent and meets the goals of what we're trying to set out. I urge you to vote no.
The chair recognizes Ms. Howard to speak in favor of the bill.
So, Mr. Speaker, members, I'll be brief. This took much longer than I think any of us anticipated. Clearly, this is something that is of interest to all of us. And I'm actually very pleased that we are doing something to try to address, whether this is the right way to do it or not, the health of our society. Because we always talk about the fact that we have an illness system rather than a wellness system. And I think that the intention of this bill anyway, is to be looking at how do we actually do things that will make a difference in the healthcare system and get people healthier. Y'all know that I'm a nurse. You may not know that I have a master's in health education and that a lot of my work was in patient and community health education. Decades ago, I helped set up the Seton Good Health School. This is not rocket science and this is nothing new. We've known for a long, long time that there are a lot of factors that impact our health and that the chronic diseases that plague our society are the result of a lot of these factors, including food. I know Dr. Oliverson has been talking a lot in the past couple of sessions about food as medicine. Clearly, we know this is an issue. I'm very pleased what Chair Hull has done with looking at the social determinants of health, the non-medical drivers, whatever you want to call them, that now we have in our Thriving Texas Families program, where we're actually assessing what is going on in people's lives that we could do that would help them get to a healthier place. We know it's not just medicine. We know it's not just drugs. And clearly food is a big part of it. So, though I would like to see some things done differently, which I will say that a lot of the Democratic amendments you heard today were very sincerely put before you because we thought that there were things we could do that could make the bill better, take advantage of what is happening with this bill. But the fact is, I am going to be supporting this bill. I think it takes us in a good direction. I would like to see much more done. I hope that we will do that. But what we do in terms of providing healthy food alternatives for all Texans, including those that are in food deserts, including our children that go to our schools, will make a long-term difference in their health and well-being. And so I am here to say I'm going to be voting for this bill. Thank you.
The chair recognizes Ms. Hull to close.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, members. I appreciate Representative Howard and the other Democrats in this chamber and the Democrats in the Senate because it was a bipartisan effort. This came out of the Senate 31-0. And again, this is Democrats and Republicans coming together to say we have had enough. RFK Jr. just called me and Senator Kolkhorst and said, They want this bill. This is the best bill in the entire nation. They are watching, and they want us to pass this bill. Members, this is about transparency. This is about informing consumers to make healthy choices for their kids. This truly is David versus Goliath, the mountain that we are up against here. I know. But Texas is standing up to big food on behalf of our children, and the whole nation is watching. Move passage.
The question occurs on Senate Bill 25, passage to third reading. This is a record vote. The clerk will ring the bell. Vote aye if you're in favor of the bill. Vote no if you're not. Have all members voted? Show Mr. Harris voting aye. Show Mr. Romero voting no. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? Being 105 ayes, 28 nays, Senate Bill 25 passes to third reading.